Hey guys, welcome to third grade reading. It's Miss Betbees. I'm back today. I have something that I hope that you guys will all enjoy today, and I've got a couple of hints for you. Okay, so look at my t-shirt. Can you see my t-shirt? I bought a t-shirt special for you guys. What do you think we're going to be reading about today? If you guessed Fortnite, then you are correct. So I know a lot of you guys are into this video game and that you enjoy playing it. I know at least my kids did in my class. And so I'm really hoping that you guys will enjoy this informational text today that we are going to be reading to just learn more about Fortnite. I think a lot of you probably have a lot of background knowledge on it, which is great. But today we're going to look at, like I said, a piece of informational text, and we are going to see how this game came to be and really why it's so popular. And so as we are reading this piece of text, we're going to be working on that standard that we've been focusing on now since last week. So we're looking at informational text that gives us facts and information about things, and we're looking for cause and effect relationships. So think back to last week and think about those cause and effect relationships that we made and really what those two terms mean, cause and effect. Think about that for just a second. Okay, so some of you, hopefully most of you, it's come back to you really quickly. But I did bring our chart that we started last week so we could review cause and effect and what those terms mean, okay, before we jump right in and get started today. So just to remind you, because we have had a couple days since I've seen you, the cause is the why. It's the reason why something happens, okay? And the effect is the what. What is the thing that happens? What's the result of the cause? Does everybody see that? Let's look at our easy examples and remind ourselves. So if we miss the school bus, because we missed the school bus, the effect is that we're going to be late for school. Okay, that makes sense, right? If we think about that. Let's look at this one with the boy blowing his bubble gum. So it splatters on his face. Ask yourself, why did that happen? Because remember, our cause is our why. Why did the bubble gum splatter on his face? Well, because here it told us he blew a big bubble. So the big bubble caused it to pop, and then when it popped, it went all over his face. Have any of y'all ever had that happen before? I have. It's messy. All right, and then our last one was the sun and the rain caused the effect of a rainbow, okay, when those two things come together. So those were our kind of simple examples. Also, I want to review our words, that when we see these words, oftentimes it is letting us know that there's probably a cause and effect relationship happening. Those words are because, so, if, then, since, due to, and as a result. So look for those as we're reading and see if any of those keywords are used to signal you that, hey, here's a cause and effect relationship. Now, do remember, it's not always going to have this. This won't always be there, but you might see them, okay? All right, guys, so I told you that I am going to give you guys a piece of text about Fortnite. So are y'all ready? All right, so it's not a read aloud book. It's not a picture book. It is another article, okay? So today I have an article, but I did make it larger for you so that you could see it a little bit better. Last Thursday, we looked at an article about music, right? And how it affected us. And it was smaller, but I was trying to show you guys how you could highlight text and how you could find the cause and then the effect, and just being able to do that independently on your own and finding those. So we're going to look at something similar to that again today, but I wanted you to be able to see it a little bit better, okay? And then when we finish reading our text, I want you to be able to think back to that text, to go back in that text and find some cause and effect relationships. Okay, so as we're reading today, listen for those. Listen for those keywords. If you don't hear those, still look for the relationships. Okay, see if there's something happening and there's something causing that to happen. Okay, so again, if you play Fortnite, then you already have some background information as far as, you know, some things that we're going to read today. Okay, so let's get started. This is our article. We're going to go down the left side and then we'll come over here to the right side. So our title is Fortnite. And this piece is giving us information about how this game came to be and then just some basic information on how to play it. This was helpful to me because while my students love Fortnite, I didn't really know much about it, and so I was able to learn a little bit more about the game, and so now I'm more interested in it. So if you don't already know about Fortnite, maybe that'll happen for you as well. Okay, so in an article, we have text features. So this one I noticed had headings in there, okay? And so each of our headings kind of outlines, it kind of gives us an overview of what it is that we're going to be reading about in that section of the text. Because an informational text, you can section out, it's not all about just one part. It can have multiple parts and multiple pieces that we put together to learn more information about a topic, okay? So our first heading was the beginning. Okay, so think about what we might learn from this section of the text. The beginning. Are you thinking that maybe we might read about how this got started and where it was in the beginning, what it was like in the beginning? Well, let's read and let's see if we can find out. In July of 2017, the online game Fortnite was released. The goal of this popular video game is to be the last person standing in a live action showdown. 100 players battle each other alone, with a partner, or in a squad of 3 to 4 people. Fortnite can be played on many different systems such as Mac, Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox. Since it is so easily accessible and is free for anyone who has access to these systems, it has become one of the most successful video games played today. It is played by more than 125 million people worldwide. That's a lot. Why do you think so many people might be playing this game? Think about what we just read, okay? Think about if there's a cause and effect relationship going on right there. We're going to keep going, but we're going to come back to that. The next heading is the game. The game begins as players are dropped from a battle bus, a large blue school bus that flies high in the air with the help of a hot air balloon. Players are dropped at a high speed and are able to steer themselves to land at the most optimum or best place on a map. Next, players can use certain controls to launch a hang glider, which slows the flight of their character. This allows for more time to search the map for a place to land. It is always a good idea to land among buildings and structures as there are more materials to collect there. After they land, players are able to use a pickaxe to knock down structures and collect materials such as brick, metal, and wood. They can use these items to quickly travel throughout the map, protect themselves, or to hide from other players. All right, so this section of the text, I want you to think about that for just a minute. What did we just read about in that particular section? Well, I'll tell you, when I read this section, it really gave me a lot of insight into how this game is played, being that I had never played it before. So it's kind of like a little introduction to your purpose of your game and kind of how it works, just your little overview. All right, now the next heading is the winner. Okay, so maybe this section is going to tell us about how you win this game. Let's see. The winner of the game is the last player standing. There are safe zones within the game. However, during each round, a storm comes and the safe zone shrinks in size. Players that are not in this area receive damage during the storm. This means that there is an even smaller playing area, which makes it easier to eliminate others or be eliminated yourself. Fortnite is a fun and addicting game. And the best part about it is that it's free for anyone that has access to gaming systems. Okay, so think about what we just read here about Fortnite in this informational text. Did you hear any cause and effect relationships within this text? I did. I know for sure I did, especially where I stopped in that first section of our text, underneath the beginning, the heading, the beginning, there was definitely some, and then there were a lot more as we got into the section about how you play the game. Did anybody else see those? I hope you did. All right, well, let's look at some. Let's see if we can identify some of these cause and effect relationships. So real quickly, think about how the effect is the what? It's the thing that happened, right? And then we want to think about, well, what caused that to happen? What made that happen? Think about that for just a minute. Okay, so I created a little chart over here, okay, for us. And today I did give you either the cause or the effect, and then we're going to practice going back in our text and finding our text evidence that tells us, hey, that is the correct answer, okay? So the first one, I gave you the cause, okay? The cause says that Fortnite is a free, easily accessible video game that is available on many game systems such as Windows, Mac, PlayStation, and Xbox. Okay, so that's the cause. Well, remember our cause is our why, okay? What does that cause? What is the effect of this? Because it's free and easily accessible, what did it tell us over here about the game because it's free and easily accessible? Well, let's go back in our text. So something we want to do is look in what we've been given and look for keywords, because we don't want to come back over here and have to reread the entire text, right? We want to use a strategy called skimming, where we can skim and look quickly at all the lines of the text to find a specific word and then read that section of the text to see if we can find an answer, okay? Because if we were trying to go back and reread every time we're looking for an answer, we're going to get very tired of doing that and very bored with the process. So in hopes of speeding it up, we want to use skimming. So here in this cause, we have the word free, talking about it being easily accessible. So those are some words that maybe we could look for in our text, okay? Does anybody remember where we read about this? Okay, it was up here in the beginning. This is where it talked about the game and kind of how it started, and it tells us about how you access it, and it talked about how it was free. So let's look over here, okay? And let's go back in this section since we can remember where it is. You may not always remember where it is, okay? I see where it is talking about how it's free. So here's that keyword free. As I'm skimming through my text, I see the word free. So now what I want to do once I find that, I haven't found the answer. I haven't found the effect yet, but I have found the key word, so now I know where to look, okay? And sometimes words recur. That means they come up more than one time, and so you might have to find it again somewhere else to actually find your answer. So right here it says, since it is so easily accessible and is free for anyone who has access to these systems, okay, because that's the case, and I see this key word, since, that we have on our chart, okay? So there is one of those key words telling me that that is my cause, and then let's see, well, what's the effect of it? What does it say after that happens? Because it's free and easily accessible, it says, it has become one of the most successful video games played today. And then it goes on to tell us it's played by 125 million people. That's a lot, okay? So this would be the cause, and the effect would be that it's become one of the most successful video games played today. So I'm going to put that over here and match it. This is the effect for this cause. Do we see that? I just retyped what was here in the text. Okay? Let's look for another one. Let's see if there's any more cause and effect relationships. Well, if we think back, that was the only one I saw in the first section of our text, okay? Now let's go to the next one where it's talking about the game, okay? Well, let's see if this one falls in that section or in the part that says the winner. It says, this time I gave you the effect, okay? So this is the thing that happens, and we're looking for the why. What caused this to happen, Okay, so it says players are able to launch a hang glider by using certain controls which slows their character's flight. So basically they use the hang glider to slow their flight. So we want to know, well, what causes this to happen? What causes that? Well, let's go back in the text. What would be a good keyword that we could skim our text to find so that we can easily find this information? Well, we have the word launch, hang glider, flight maybe. Any of those would be fine. There's not one word that is the best word, but it's a word. We want to look for something that we don't see frequently, okay? We only see it once or a couple times within the text, okay? So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find where it's talking about that. Well, I remember when we were talking about the game, it was talking about this. It was telling me what I was going to do. So let's skim through and see if we see any of these words here within the text. So do you see how I just keep moving if I don't see that word in particular? All right, let's see. I do see where it is talking about finding the best place on the map, which it kind of is talking a little bit about that here. It says, oh, here's hang glider. Here's that word. Okay, there's a word I'm skimming for, hang glider. So let's read the sentences that this word is in and also the ones around it. So it says, next, players can use certain controls to launch a hang glider, which slows the flight of their character. Okay, well that tells me what I already have here is my effect. Now my question is, what causes that to happen? It says, this allows for more time to search the map for a place to land. Okay? Do y'all see that? Okay? Now, is that a cause? Does that cause that to happen? Okay. So Miss Bettys is looking at this and I'm seeing something. I'm seeing that when I read this right here and it says that players can use certain controls to launch a hang glider which slows the flight of the character, that actually, in this sentence, if I followed with, this allows for more time to search for a map and a place to land, this is actually the cause. The cause would be that the hang glider, right, is allowing me to slow down, and then the effect is that now I have this place to land. Do y'all see that? Okay, so I'm going to switch these because I see that that didn't make sense. Okay, so do you see how sometimes we can think that a cause is an effect, but when we go back in our text and we really look at it and we read it and we ask ourselves why that happened, I realized as soon as I asked myself that after reading that that didn't make sense. And that's what I want you to do, because this is the most common mistake with us in third grade is we get these mixed up. But if you ask yourself why, then you should start to notice that, hey, well, we don't know why that happens. And so if you don't know why it happens, it's likely the effect. But if you can answer why, then you have your cause. So let's look at this again since we had this one backwards here. We have that players are able to launch a hang glider by using certain controls which slows their character's flight. And the effect of that is that now players are able to take their time so they can search the map to find the best place to land. Without that hang glider, they couldn't do that. Does everybody see that? Okay, so pay attention to those, okay? That's the perfect place to see that we do that sometimes and then we get confused on which one's actually the cause and the effect. So the important thing is if that happens, that you notice it. So make sure you're asking, once you get that effect, why did that happen? And go back in your text. If I wouldn't have gone back in my text, I might not have found that mistake, right? Okay, good. All right, so let's keep going. I've got one more for us, okay? Now, I have this time a cause, okay? Players are able to use a pickaxe to knock down structures and collect materials, okay? So because they're able to use that pickaxe, what's the effect of that? What does that allow them to be able to do because they use that pickaxe to knock down materials and then to collect them? Well, let's go back in our text. I'm going to look for the word pickaxe or maybe collect in my text, and I see pickaxe right here. Okay, it says players are able to use a pickaxe to knock down structures and collect materials, and then they get more specific on those materials. Okay, it says they can use these items to quickly travel throughout the map to protect themselves or hide from other players. So those are the things that they do. Okay, so because they're able to use that pickaxe and get those materials, the effect is that they can then use those items that they collect to travel through the map, okay, and be able to hide from the other players because they don't want to be eliminated, okay? So because the players are able to use a pickaxe to knock down structures and collect materials, they can use these items to quickly travel throughout the map, protect themselves, or hide from other players, okay? Great job. All right, guys, so for math, we are going to continue on with our Fortnite theme. And remember last week we started talking about time, so we're going to do elapsed time gaming, you know, just themed. And then on Thursday, we're going to travel through time and with reading. So I hope you'll join me Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye, guys.